out, so make sure you know your town's rules. And when the house is prepared, it needs to smell good, have all the lights and the shades open, as much light and bright as possible. It's great to have a lender there with you guys. That way you have more than one person there. Someone can greet them at the door, and you can go and showcase the house and answer any questions. Always have handouts, so this would be a great time to have Ross Mortgage list reports. They have a great spread for open houses. I use that all the time. It has like schools on there, it has neighborhood reports, and people love information, especially if they're not from town. And the sign-in sheet, you can have pen and paper, and so I have both. I have pen and paper and the Open Home Pro on my iPad. And you know, the people that are techie will use the iPad, and the people that don't want to touch it use they just sign in regular. So I love the Open Home Pro because you can showcase the house again through the Open Home Pro, so it'll be a slideshow of the property. And as soon as they leave the open house, they get an email thanking them for coming to the open house. And it continues to let them know what's going on. And it also tells you if they have opened your emails. So you know if they're interested, they're looking through, you know, the email that you sent them. Always have some type of food, snacks, water, some type of something to have there. Safety, again, if you have another person there, either an agent, team member, or a lender. While you're at the property, social media marketing is great. So if you have a packed house, it's great to take photos while people are coming and going. That way you can showcase that on Facebook as well, or you can do a live tour on Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat, wherever you use it. And then most important is following up the next day. So what I usually do, if they had left their phone numbers, I'll either give them a call, send them a text with the photo of the property, reminding them that we were, you know, thank you for coming to the open house. If you have any questions, or if we did have a conversation and they had any questions that I didn't answer them, I would remind them and give them answers on that as well. And always give a report to your sellers after the open house. Let them know how many people came, what was the feedback, and kind of show them what we look forward to if we have any offers going on that day as well. So I do have a seller prep of property checklist for my sellers. It's in my listing packet. It basically says cleaner, the landscape, get paint refreshened, rugs cleaned, declutter. I'll go through the property and let them know we should have this cleared out, take out personal belongings, any personal items, medicine, medication, jewelry, anything that you don't want people touching or looking at. Open up your closets, make sure that they're decent enough for people to open them so they see that there's space. And we try not to have any pets on the property as well, so either people that are allergic or just afraid of animals, we don't have that as an issue. And I have personally had a seller stay at an open house that I went to. It was very awkward for my buyers because they don't feel like they can talk about the house. So, and he was really talkative, so he spoke to us the entire time, and we were just like not really looking at the house. We were kind of just trying to be polite to him. So it was kind of a fail, but I personally never let any of my sellers stay. I mean, some people do insist, but kind of hide them in the corner somewhere, don't talk to nobody. But yeah, never, ever let sellers stay. So invitations, again, I do a neighborhood hour before the open house, invite only, and then I open it up to the public. So on Facebook, you can do a boost for if you create an event, you can boost it, and that would be a paid ad. You could do it on LinkedIn, Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope, door knock other sellers in the neighborhood, personally invite them with a personal invite, and then postcards you can do a week in advance. I usually do that just for the few streets out around the house. And if you're in like condos or things like that, they usually have like a neighborhood bulletin board where you can put notifications and stuff. So you can also do that as well. And people are always judging how you're doing your business, so might as well do it right. Facebook marketing, interior and exterior photos. Write up what invokes emotion, so kind of create a story of what you imagined someone doing in that property. So if you're on a lake property, if they have like a grand room, like talk it up a little bit, make them have a little bit of an imagination, and sponsor the ad to the town and your followers. So always, and if you need help with marketing on Facebook, there's always, you can reach out to me, or there's a lot of YouTube videos that you can do it as well, but make sure it gets done properly. So you could also give out shareable links and materials to print and share. So if your sellers are part of a group or a network, or part of the police academy, or some type of union that they can share their property to, that just exposes your name as well as their property. So I always friend my clients and share and tag them any which way that I can, so that their group of people see that how we're doing our business, they're selling their house and getting exposure as well.
I have a question. Do you ask permission before you do that?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Some people are very strict with, they don't want anybody
Right.
to know, which it's on the market, they're gonna know, but they don't want to, have people asking questions.
Right.
So always ask. So lots of signs. Again, remember, if your town has rules against this, I know a lot of condo complexes do not like signage. They will just take them down. So you don't want to waste all that time driving around the neighborhood and putting all these signs out, and then to come back and there's nobody coming to your open house because they're all gone.
We talked the other day about the directional signs at the corner of the street.
Yep.
And sometimes a person who owns that property
Yes.
can get upset with that too. So I guess it's a good rule to ask permission on that as well.
Of course, yes.
So you knock on their door, or?
You can knock on the door if they're not home, leave a note, have them call you if there's an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done that before. So once you get to the property, I usually get a half hour to an hour before the open house starts, just to make sure that, one, the seller listened to me and cleaned the house. I've had a seller that I was covering an open house for another agent, and the seller didn't make their beds, so I was going around making everybody's bed. So the little things that you just need to do it so you look good. So turn on the lights, shades up. You can have soft music on every floor if you like, if they have it set up that way. I usually use my iPad and usually have music going off from that. Have your little station set up where you have your sign-in sheets, your Open Home Pro iPad going. You can put the TV on for the screensaver, just so it looks nice in the room. Just don't make sure there's no music unless they do have soft music. Set up food, and then make sure that pledge the place. So if they didn't do it, you have to bring it. I always have stuff in the car that if they didn't do it, I'll do it for them. So greeting people. Hello, my name is Keish Lakilas from LAER Realty Partners. Thank you for stopping by my open house today. Are you visiting many, or did you just happen to drive by this one and stop in? So that's a great first question, just because it'll give you an idea of what's going on in their situation. So if they're already looking and don't have an agent, they're ready to buy. So those are great buyers to have. And then, oh, I just stopped in, so you understand where they are in the process. And I have a checklist for all this, which I'll share with all of you. Handouts, make a checklist. So high quality listing sheets, photos on good paper, school reports. So if you use list reports from Ross Mortgage, this is where you'll find all this stuff. Listings on similar properties, so they can compare if they're not doing an open house the same day. you know, and they didn't love your house, say, okay, well, I have these that you can also take a look at another time. Great way to segue to a listing, a buyer showing appointment. Let them know if there's other open houses in the area. Say, hey, you know, this is the one that you've come to. There's another one right around the corner if you would like. They appreciate you knowing and giving information to them. And if they're out of the area, they'll let you know quickly. So let them know about the report that List Reports has, and ask them what's important to them, and let them know that it's 5 minutes away, it's over here, it's over there. Have your business cards always ready. You could also get a mortgage breakdown from Ross Mortgage. Any warranties, plot plans, any other stuff pertaining to the property, the seller's disclosure form, all that stuff, just ready there for them, because they're going to ask questions about it. They're going to say, how old is the roof? How old is this? How old is that? So might as well just have it ready for them. I also cater to the kids. So in my opinion, I have 3 kids, and if you're nice to my kids, I love you already. So if you keep my kids busy with coloring books or word searches and stuff like that, I'm grateful to you. So we do have coloring books and word searches in our jostle as well, so you can print them out.
Really?
Yes. And it's an audition, so you want to make sure everyone that comes in sees everything that you're doing, and potentially get another listing. Yes, here. Always acknowledge the kids. You can create your own custom thing. I did a custom for LAER, so you can add whatever wording that you want, word searches. You can go to these websites, but they are on Jostle already with the basic LAER information. But if you did want to change the words that were on there, you can do so at this website, twistnuda.com, and crossword puzzle word search. And don't forget the other kids. If people have pets, I used to do this a lot. I haven't done it again, so I need to get back to it, but I always have like a little baggie of treats for, you know, dogs. Just make sure that the kids know that they're for dogs, because they'll grab them. So just have like a designated area for pets. So I personally don't do this, but I think it's a great idea, and I'm going to try it and see how it works. Stacy says to hide the listing sheet. So if someone's really interested, they're going to ask you for it. Others that are just browsing, they're just going to go through the house and, you know, not even care. But that would hide the listing sheets on top of the fridge. If they ask, oh yeah, sure, here you go. So sign-in sheets. There's so many different sign-in sheets that you can either create, find online, or in Jostle. It's whatever works best for you guys, what type of information you want from the buyer or whoever comes into the open house. So this one here is name, address, phone number, how did you hear about the open house, and what is your goal. I would personally take out what is your goal, but I just ask for phone number, address, email, and where did you hear it from, and if they're buying or selling, and if they have a seller's agent, a buyer's agent as well, if they have an agent already. And then if people give you an issue with signing in, just say, hey, you're coming into somebody else's house. The seller really wants to know who's coming in. It's just a safety thing. Because I've gotten pushback too. I'm like, oh, we're just browsing. I'm like, yeah, but we still need you to sign in.
How do you feel about other buyers seeing the previous buyer's information on a sign-in sheet like that, with all that information, like everybody's looking at everybody's?
I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, I know there's, you could do like single page ones that people can sign in, but I've never had an issue with that. I mean, they're not really sitting there jotting down somebody else's.
But you just never know what other people, what's going on in their mind.
Yeah,
they're not,
it's true.
Yeah.
You can be safer than that and have a separate page for each sign-in sheet. That's totally fine.
I know for me, and that's a good point, because especially in this day and age. So for me, if I go to an open house and someone asks me for the information, if they're insisting, they don't get the real information. So
Yeah.
The thing about this, the pushback, if somebody says they really don't want to, you kind of have to respect that
Yeah.
they're afraid. Maybe they have good reason to be. So it's almost like engaging them for a while first before you really, I would think,
Yeah.
press
So
them.
to that, I just did an open house this past weekend, and they came in but didn't sign in right away. So they were kind of like, I don't push it unless I feel weird about it. But so they were just walking around the house, and I let them, take a look. And then one of the people said, "Oh, did anybody sign in?" Because there was a group of them that came in. So I think everyone just thought somebody else was going to sign in. And at the end, I'm like, "Oh, I don't think you guys signed in yet. Can you do that?" After we've already had a conversation. So it is good to have rapport, and then they feel a little comfortable to finally sign in. Open house survey. Thank you for attending my open house at, whatever, Main Street in Boston. My sellers and I would appreciate your feedback on the home. Please fill this out quickly. And you can do a raffle for $20 gift card.
Is this something you can find on Jostle?
I think so. There's a bunch of these on Jostle as well. If not, I could create one and add one on there as well. But yeah, so people love raffles, so they will fill these out. And who doesn't want a Dunkin's gift card? So yeah, another thing for them to do on their way out. And food. Who doesn't love food? Coffee, tea, water, cookies. You can have your lender sponsor them, or they're pretty cheap to just bring in. Yeah.
Years ago, I knew an agent who would buy an apple pie, didn't matter if it was Market Basket, and he would put it in the oven of the house early on, just so that when you walked in the door, you could smell the apple pie baking.
That's cool. Okay, and then showing. Ask them if they would like a tour. It's great. It's a great way to build rapport. How long have they been house hunting? When did they need to move by? Any house to sell? Pre-approval. So these are just the typical questions that we would try to ask them. I don't really go straight to how long have you been looking. I kind of say, "Oh, do you live in the area?" And they either say yes, no, and then I'll go from there. Okay, are you guys looking for yourself? Is this something that does this work? Like I'll keep it at a distance before I get personal with them. And then if they start asking a bunch of questions about the house, then I feel like I have the right to ask them questions as well. So safety, of course, you always want to be safe. If you do have a license to carry pepper spray, do so. There's plenty of apps, Be Safe app that you can use for that. Never go into the basement, attic, or closet alone. Text a friend if you feel unsafe. And tell them you have registered their license plate with the office. And check in with family and coworkers. So this would be great if you had a lender with you, or a team member. Yep.
How do you register your license plate in the office?
You're just basically writing it down and letting them know that we have it.
Oh.
Yeah. They don't know what it means, so we have your license plate. I think there was one time where I felt like a little weird. I was in an open house all by myself, and I was covering for another agent, and this guy just kind of stuck around for way too long, and no one was here. So I'm like pretending I'm on the phone now, like, if I die today, there's this random guy that will not leave. So it is weird. Yeah. So you always. Well, I did take pictures, and then I was actually on the phone with someone. So I'm like, yeah, this guy's not leaving yet, but he's really not talking to me. He's just kind of in his own little world. It was really weird. So you kind of get that feeling, when something's not right. So, and then I was just talking like, oh yeah, you'll be here. He walked there. Yes, there was no car.
Keep the doors open.
Yeah, all the doors was open, and then I keep the basement door closed because I don't want people coming in from the back,
Right.
and I just want one way where people are coming in and out. So I let him go in the basement himself, but I just kind of stayed in the kitchen because it was just him. It was weird.
Did he sign in?
He did sign it, but that doesn't mean anything.
No. You could give a fake number.
Yeah, it was weird. So I'm like, all right, I'll just wait on the phone until he gets out. So I kind of stayed at the front door until he's made his way out. But you never know. You can never be too safe. And he finally did leave.
Because I had someone with new construction used to come all the time, and he would park way at the end of the street so you couldn't get his license plate number.
That's craziness.
So I think about the third time, I just walked out the front door and walked down to his car, took a picture of it, went back in, and,
Yeah.
you know, I put my husband on the speakerphone. I said, yeah, I have his license plate now, it's da-da-da,
Yeah, you just never know.
yeah.
What if you use one of those plackets that say, surveillance? Home
You could do that,
surveillance, you know,
yeah.
just to kind of.
Yeah. Have a little notice inside, you're being
Yeah.
watched.
Mhm.
I think that would deter them a little bit.
Yeah.
Or you could have it in a book, so that if someone was uncomfortable, you'd pull it out.
Yeah,
Ah, I'm gonna do that.
yeah.
That's a great idea.
Speaking of
Why not?
surveillance, you should know that whether you're showing a house or doing an open house, now, a lot of times, the sellers are watching what
They
you're
are,
doing
right. Yes.
from their.
They are.
Yeah, so don't be sitting and watching TV for your
Yeah.
open house. Well, yeah, there's so many different security cameras now that anyone can just plug in and go. So always pretend you're getting watched at all times.
Right.
Just you're being watched no matter what. So social marketing of the property. I personally do a video when I'm at the property a few minutes before the open house starts.
Like a live.
Yeah, I do live, I do Snapchat, I do Instagram, like I go everywhere. I'm like, follow me here, watch this, go over there, you know, try to get people that have traffic. But I'll do a complete tour on one and then have everybody point in and go see me on wherever. But people like the tour, they want to see live video tours.
What is Periscope?
So Periscope, it's not so popular, but it's basically live, like around the world, so anybody around the world can see you.
Oh.
So you just go live, and anybody from wherever
And it's
can
an
watch you. It's an app, yep. Yeah. It was popular for a long time, but then it kind of died out.
Yeah.
So they still use it; it still exists. But I think Snapchat and Instagram stories and all that stuff kind of took it over. Yeah. Follow up. If they left their address, I will send them a thank you note. Always add them to the database because you never know. I had a buyer come into an open house and he left his information in. He was a great guy and he just kind of fell off the earth all of a sudden. Like I didn't hear from him, blah, blah. And I kept him in my database and then I followed up with him a few months later and he ended up buying. So they just kind of need their time. And then call weekly for 4 weeks, or until they say no. Stop, leave me alone. Just to get follow-up and feedback on what's going on. So let the sellers know what happened, who attended, how they heard about the social media marketing, feedback, and any any comments that the buyers have said. So I had one that said, you know, the house was overpriced, or they didn't like one certain thing about the house and the sellers did change it. Like there was just feedback where it helps
So-
not coming from you,
Right.
it's from the public. So like, oh, you know, other people are saying that, you already mentioned it, maybe you're right. It takes a minute for sellers to realize because it is their personal space. And then recap. You're not there to sell a house. You're there for an audition for a talent show. Be prepared at the listing presentation to say no to an open house every weekend. I do the first weekend that it's on the market or if there's a price change. And if you do any open houses, stand out. Otherwise, don't bother. There's people that just show up, put a sign outside, and hope people show up. That's a waste of your time. And it does a disservice to the sellers. Give the sellers a checklist to get the home ready. If they have animals, if they have children. I have a thing with the children that I give them a promise. If they keep their rooms clean for the weekend of the open house, they get like a gift card or something to get them involved.
Actually send it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if their parents have to tell me that they were good and kept the room clean, and
it
then
makes them keep themselves.
exactly, yes. Always get the kids involved. Lots of signs, different kinds of signs. So I just ordered the really tall, like that banner right there, the open house banner. I got one of those, and then just regular signs everywhere around the town. Make sure you don't get them taken away. Greet people, introduce yourself, have plenty of collateral material, be ready for kids and acknowledge them. I usually say hi to the kids before I say hi to the parents. because they're usually the first one coming in. Or if you have balloons, LAER has balloons. I gave one of the kids yesterday in a balloon.
Those.
The offices have balloons for the weekend. Yep. Yeah. Periscope of the property or Facebook Live. Safety first, and follow up with sellers and everyone who have attended. Any questions about that? Yep.
How many people watch every Friday Stacy puts out a video of an agent that she interviews?
Yes.
Hasn't come out yet, so it's a sneak peek. There's one coming out though, where the agent she interviewed talks about open houses and how he got started. And he would do 4 open houses a weekend. And what he found was that he would go do one in the morning Saturday, one in the afternoon, one in the morning Sunday, one in the afternoon. And he would see the same faces over and over again.
Oh, wow.
And that built credibility to those buyers. So
And it gave them exposure.
Yeah.
yeah. So
That's great.
watch these videos that come out on Fridays because you'll pick up neat little tips.
Yeah. A good book to read, Mastering the Art of Selling Real Estate by Tom Hopkins. It's a great book here, so make sure you guys read that. And final thought, strategy is about setting yourself apart from the competition. It's no matter of being better at what you do, it's a matter of being different at what you do. So don't be the average agent that just pops in, opens the door and waits. Engage with them, have conversations with them, and your presentation is a reflection of you, so don't mess that up. I think that's it. Do you guys have any questions about open houses?
Good stuff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any Thank you.
Yes. We're gonna pause for a second.
There's a machine.
Welcome back, everybody. Eric Pelletier here, and we're going to be talking about databases, and we just had actually a really good conversation. At some point during this session, we're going to go through this list here that I'm scrolling through. There are hundreds, literally hundreds, of CRMs or customer relationship management tools to track your database and to work with that. So we're going to get into that with the group, and certainly if you have any opinions watching on video, chime in because we'd love to hear them. But before we get started with all that, I want to go over a couple free things we have at our disposal through the National Association of Realtors. Just real quick, in every session you hear about books. Kiki mentioned a book, I've mentioned books, Stacy's mentioned books, Susan mentioned books, everybody mentions books, books. So if you go to nar.realtor, and this is the NAR site, and go under education, down here there's a thing called library and archives. And you come down here to ebook catalog. And it's going to ask you to sign in. All you need is your NERDS number, and you can log in. And you can search for all kinds of books. So just for example, Richest Man in Babylon. Anybody heard of that? Mm-hmm. Fantastic book. Everybody should read it. Right here, it's available for free to us as an audiobook. Yeah. You just download Overdrive. It's an app. You log in, and you have somebody give me another book.
Wow.
Let's go with, how about this month's book club reading? We're reading the book Persuasion.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is, available.
Wow.
So,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
anybody interested in learning Spanish?
Yeah.
Spanish for Dummies audiobook, Spanish on the Move audiobook. All these are available to us for free. So when you pay, you just got done paying your NAR dues and your board dues. These are some of the things you get, okay? Today we're going to be talking about how to stay relevant and how to market to our database. wouldn't it be great if we had an app that had a database of service providers, painters, lenders, electricians, all that stuff? Okay,
Well, there is.
there is.
Yeah.
So, so zip forms. We all have a zip forms account because that's a free benefit, even though as a company we use .loop. We still have zip forms as something. So this is what you need to do. You need to go to your Zip Forms Plus and log in and go under Partners. And this is being recorded so you can go back and watch the steps. Scroll down right here to Homekeeper R and you click on Learn More. That's great. Do you have this already, Kiki? Okay.
It's a great app.
I already have an account. I'll have to use a different one.
So this is a free app?
So this is the trick. If you were to sign up on your own for 1,000 clients, it's $49.99 a month. So $600 a year. Because you're a realtor, you go in through Zip Forms, you log in through there, you get this for free. That right there covers your dues for an entire year. So unfortunately, I don't have a way to tie in my phone like I normally would with an Apple TV where I could show you what it looks like. But you've got both your site, your app, where you can enter in your home inspectors, your contractors, your landscapers, your plumbers, all that stuff. But then there's another, it gives you a link for an app that you can send to your consumers. Now, who belongs to a Facebook community page? Everybody, right? How many times in there do they say, looking for a gardener, looking for a roofer, looking for... You can post a link to your app in there and say, hey, I'm a realtor in your local area. Here's an app that has a list of all my trusted partners, or whatever term you want to use. They download it. When they open up the app, it actually shows your face, the LAER logo, and on the bottom it gives some options. It gives them, one, the directory, but two, it also sets, you can set up a reminder schedule, so they'll get a push notification on their phone, whether it's Android or Apple, that says, hey, it's time to change your batteries in your smoke detector. Hey, it's time to do this or that, okay? And then another thing it does is, who has a drawer full of manuals for your microwave, your stove, your refrigerator, things you're never gonna see or look at, but for whatever reason we don't throw them away. The app actually will go in, you enter in your make and model, it'll go find the PDF, and it'll store it on here so you don't have to worry about keeping it. And it also keeps track of warranty information as well. It's a great app. So that's $600 that it saves you right there.
So you have to go through Zip Forms to
You have to get it for free, you got to go through Zip Forms. Okay? So there's a couple benefits of being a realtor. Let's see what we got here. All right, so we talked about books. I'm going to throw out a book right away too. It's not available in the library, but it's called Beyond the Sales Process. In this book, it's more geared towards business to business. However, the principles are the same. And what this book does in the probably second or third chapter, it talks about the time we spend with clients and how in most sales processes, you maybe spend 6-7 hours with a client in the course of a year. Now, as realtors, we spend a little bit more time, but if you do the math, we maybe spend 3 weeks with a client, like actual face-to-face interaction. It may be spread over a year, but there's a whole other 49 weeks that we're not in front of our clients, and yet we should be. And there's no reason now why we're not, because of social media. We can know everything from what they had for breakfast to what time they brushed their teeth, right? So There's no reason why we can't be proactive, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is how to use our database to be proactive. Guys ready for some fun stats? This is from the 2018. Come on, go away. There we go. This is from the 2018 profiles of home buyers and sellers directly from NAR, okay? 41% of buyers used an agent that was referred to them by a friend, neighbor, or relative. 41%. 68% of buyers interviewed only one real estate agent during their home search. How many times have we heard from a buyer or seller? We're going to talk to a couple other agents. Okay? That's a defense mechanism. If you're hearing that, it means they're uncomfortable with you, and we've got to find a way to bridge that gap and connect with them a little bit better, because 2/3 of them aren't going to actually do that. Follow-up's very important too. And then 90% of buyers would use their agent again or recommend their agent to others. It's kind of common sense, right? Sellers. 63% of sellers used an agent that was referred to them by a friend, neighbor, or other relative. I want to stop there for a second. This number is really big, 63%. 2/3 of all sellers went by a referral from a friend, neighbor, or coworker, relative. How many people do you know on Facebook? 100. I know that feeling well. So, thank God for those bots that friend me. So, Facebook is such an underutilized tool when it comes to referrals. Statistics say that every person, not a real estate agent, but normal people know every person they know. Let me think how to say this, I'm sorry. The average person knows 3 people that are going to buy or sell in the coming year a home. So think about that. If you know 100 people, that's 300 potential referrals that you could have. The nice thing about what Kiki was talking about earlier with Close, and there's some other Close, several of them integrate with Facebook. Nimble is the other one that integrates with Facebook, and it automatically brings all your contacts into your database, and it reads their feeds for you. So if somebody announces they're having a baby or something, you can tweak the systems to where it pops up and lets you know, hey, this person's talking about this, or that person's talking about
That's
that.
cool.
And Close does it too.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, there's a way to.
Well, they have like a section where if you click on the client's
Nimble.
name, it'll give you their social media profile, like
yeah.
what they're saying and that. So if you are looking into talking or reaching out to them, you could see what they've posted already. It just needs to be linked through your, so if you're friends with them, it automatically brings them in.
Because we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about how to make touches with our people throughout the year, right? Because that's one of the hardest things is what do we don't want to bug people. And does an amazing job with pop buys. When's that class?
Friday.
Friday. So make sure, I'm not going to be here, but make sure you guys are here for that, because she's phenomenal.
Which class?
All right. Ann Silverman's pop buy class. All right, so 75% of sellers interviewed only one real estate agent. That's key, guys. If they don't want to give you the business that day, that's okay, but make sure you follow up, because more than likely, they're not going to talk to anybody else. 32% of sellers recommended their agent 3 or more times since selling their home. How many houses have you sold in your career? Times that by 3. Okay? What fact I left off on this that's in the report is that it says a typical seller, meaning nearly 100%, recommended their agent at least one time during the sales process of their home. Every sale, every listing you have should get you at least one referral before it even goes under contract. And then this last point. Sellers typically lived in their home for 9 years before selling, and this is trending down since 2017. What's that mean? It means people are moving more often. We got to stay in touch with them. So if you have somebody that's been in their house for 7 years, make sure you're their best friend. Some Realtor Facts. Now this is from the 2018 NAR member profile. So this is a survey that was done by NAR of just realtors. They found that 58% of realtors with 5 years or less experience said they received none of their business by referral. 58% of the people that had been in the business less than 5 years did not get a referral. It's amazing. Now, I'm just curious, how many people think that's because they don't have the experience?
Yeah. They just weren't
Well,
told.
the experience to keep it.
I meant, okay. How many think that they didn't get the referral because their referrals didn't think they had enough experience being new in the business?
Uh-oh.
No.
No.
I don't think
I don't think that's the reason. I think that could be an excuse for some people not to ask for the referral, but it's amazing. Realtors with 6+ years of experience average 25 to 27% of their business from referrals. Was a fourth of your business from referrals last year? You don't have to answer that, but think about it. Realtors making $150,000 or more a year receive 60% of their business from repeat clients and referrals. Doesn't say Zillow, doesn't say Realtor, doesn't say Op City. It's from repeat and referrals.
I think
Okay.
we forget that our past clients are our biggest advocates. Like they're the easiest way to get business. If you did well for them, they're going to want you to share and help their friends.
And it's really hard to change language, but for a long time we've used referrals. We need to get away from referrals. It's an old and dated, and
Yeah, what's another better word for it?
I like advocates.
Advocates, okay.
Endorsements. Would you endorse me? How many people have heard of Buffini? How many people have done Buffini? Okay, love Buffini. I'm excited for the new Pathways to Mastery course that's coming up
February.
in February
Do you know when it started?
6.
6th. So I love his program. Where I'm going to show you his CRM that I use, and I think that's a great system. But he has a couple things that if you take nothing else from him, the one thing you need to take is the mayor campaign. And Susan, do you mind if I use you right here, seeing you right here? So Susan's a friend of mine. She's not in real estate. She knows I'm in real estate. I'm making, I talk to her, I just say, Susan, I don't know if you or someone you know may or may not be in the market for real estate, but if you don't have, see, great thing about being live is you can make mistakes and stop. And you may or may not be in the market, but if you were, do you have a realtor that you trust that you would refer somebody to?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Do you mind me asking who it is?
Yeah, it's Susan.
Susan?
Yeah,
You've known her
because-
for a long time?
Oh, yes.
Excellent. It's very important that you have somebody that you can,
I trust her.
yeah, so that's great. And I just leave it at that. You can't win everybody. I was hoping she was going to say no. So, had she said no, I said,
Well,
"Look,"
usually people that are put on the spot usually say, I don't know.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
right. So, if they say they have somebody, don't push it because you're not going to.
Or make them
Yeah.
question when's the last time that they
Right.
spoke to them.
If they say, no, I don't have someone, that's when you go into, well, I have an appreciation program. Do you mind? I send out, little articles and stuff like that from time to time. Do you mind if I stay in touch with you and maybe earn the trust to be your real estate advocate? And usually they say, yeah, fine. And you move on from that. So anyway, let's talk about some money. Money. So we're all for the same company. But just in case there's somebody watching that's not with LAER, antitrust disclaimer, each market is different and every brokerage is free to set their own professional fees. Oops, it says RE Consortia, that's another project I'm working on. But LAER is in no way trying to dictate or set that fee. And these numbers are only an example and the actual earnings may differ. But what happens if you give 3 referrals, meaning you know somebody and you give 3 referrals. Well, NAR, Profile of Home Buyer and Seller, said that the average sale price was $250,000 last year. So we're just going to use the average across the country, okay? So that's $750,000. If it's a 2%, if the agent gets a 2% fee or a 3% fee, you can see that adds an additional $3,700 to $5,600 to your income for the year, just by giving 3 referrals. Do you know one person on Facebook? Yes,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We all have at least one friend on Facebook. So if the average person knows 3 people buying or selling, you could use that one person to get 3 referrals. Does that mean you have, so let's put this into context here. And Susan's sitting right next to me. I know Susan. Susan says, oh, Eric, you're in real estate. I have a friend that lives in Oklahoma that wants to buy a house. Do you have, is there anything you can do? Now, I'm licensed in New Hampshire. Can I help this person in Oklahoma?
No, refer.
I can help them. I'm going to say yes,
Yes,
because
refer.
I can refer. So let's pretend Gina is licensed in Oklahoma. I have this relationship with Gina. I say, Gina, hey, I've got a referral for you. Can I make the introduction? I refer to Gina. I now get the 25%. I don't have to be licensed in California and Texas and Oklahoma, Wyoming, Hawaii. I can give referrals out to those people. So I make sure my friends, no matter where they are, now I've had the benefit of living in 22 different states, so I know people all over the country. But those people, I can help them. I want to be their first source of the source in real estate. So just, if you could give 1 referral a month, you're talking about adding $15,000 to $22,000 to your income. Don't set big astronomical goals, but there are plenty of people out there that are making a living by just giving referrals and being an advocate.
Do all states accept referrals? I didn't think they were all like reciprocal like that.
It's not, if you are a licensed real estate agent, you can receive a compensation.
Out of state.
Yep. Now, you're going to want to make sure you develop a network, and there are different tools out there. I would not just send it to, there's some referral programs out there where you sign up and you put in the information and they choose a realtor for you. I disagree with that concept.
Yeah.
I want to know who I'm sending my referrals to, because they're still my clients.
Right, yeah.
So I just had that happen last year where I had a seller that was selling up here. She was selling her house in New Hampshire, and she was moving down to South Carolina. And she was reluctant to use her friend's realtor. She didn't really know her. So I'm like, well, I could help you with that. Even though I didn't know anybody down there, I asked Stacy, I went to our Facebook page and I said, who knows somebody in South Carolina that will take care of these people? This is the area that they're looking for. And I, called the lady, I vetted her, I made sure that she answered all my questions personally that I would need from her to know that she would be good. And then I sent over my client's information, and they closed a week after we closed on our house up here.
So you send her a referral
Yep.
form? And
Yep,
all
I
your
called her
info
first to make sure that it was okay for the referral and all that stuff, and then I, wanted to interview her basically on my behalf, because anybody I refer to is a reflection of me as well.
Exactly.
So if I refer them to a bad agent, it's
Yeah.
my fault.
Right,
So I want to make
Wanna
sure
know.
that it always works out.
right.
So they were very grateful. They're like, oh, you know people? I'm like, I know people everywhere.
So that's why it's important to belong to, anybody in here belong to a Women's Council of Realtors?
Yes.
All right, so there's 2 of us. So, great organization. They do allow men in. About 10% of the membership is men. So,
That's good.
yeah.
They need to change the name then.
Where is that? Is that on like?
There's a couple different, Kiki can probably tell you what the local one is.
I'll
You
send
can
out
go to-
the email,
Yeah,
the website.
and you can Google Women's Council of Realtors and you can find a local chapter.
They have a Facebook page too. You can
Yeah.
sign up that way.
They are amazingly connected when it comes to referrals. So there's that. There's if you're got your ABR, your accredited buyer representative, your seller representative specialist, your senior real estate specialist, any of those designations have Facebook groups, closed Facebook groups that you can use as referral source as well. So there's a lot of options out there. Here's going from the other side. So now you're receiving instead of giving the referral. So let's say you receive 2 referrals in the course of a year. You're looking at anywhere from $7,500 to $11,000 raise. Yeah, and that's after you give. That's after you give the 25% discount. Or not discount, but the 25% referral fee. Okay? So you can just see going down the list. The average, according to the NAR member survey, the average realtor made less than $30,000 a year.
That's sad.
I can think of less stressful ways to make $30,000 a year. So if you could become a referral source or receive referrals, 8 referrals put you at $30,000 to $45,000, and didn't cost you anything in marketing. Just something to keep in mind. All right.
This would be great for people that have other jobs. You know, you always know people that are going to sell, even if you don't have the time for them. You can still be that source of, I know someone that could take great care of you, and you still get something out of it. So,
And
might as well always.
25% of something is better than 0
Yeah.
or 100% of nothing.
It brings to mind the story that Joe Nigro tells, but not to that point, always acknowledge the referral when you get it,
Yes.
not when becomes a transaction. But Joe Nigro, I can only paraphrase it, that he didn't stay on top of a person that was going to be a referral. And
So the story I think of when I think of Joe. So Joe is kind of a partner of Brian Buffini. He's at one point was the top agent in Chicago, and he is extremely successful. And he has several stories, but there's one that he was talking about that he would send a thank you to everybody that gave him a referral, and he had one person that would send him a referral every single month. And every single month he would send, a thank you. The referrals were always awful. No credit, bad credit, couldn't finance free lunch, that type of person. Then one day, but Joe never turned him down, and he always sent the thank you. Then after a few months he gets one, meets with a guy who was looking to get a rental for his daughter. Ended up finding a rental property for his daughter. Not a rental property to buy, mind you, just a rental. Put her in, and what ended up happening is he ended up with that guy's business who owned some high-rise building on the lake that was millions of dollars, and it was all because he treated the referral source just like any other referral source, and he didn't give up just because he was getting crappy referrals. He just kept saying, thank you very much, I appreciate it, thank you very much, I appreciate it, because you never know. So
Made it all worth it.
yes. I like Stacy titled this Mining for Gold. Sounds like an infomercial for Buffini. It's really not, but Buffini has a podcast. If you look it up on whatever your favorite podcast source is, find his Acres of Diamonds podcast. Acres of Diamonds was actually an essay written by Earl Nightingale. Phenomenal reading. But Brian reads it to us in 45 minutes. And he talks about all these, in the thing it talks about a guy right here in Massachusetts who went to school to be a mineralogist and was going to go out to California to find gold and make millions, and he ended up in, I think it was Kansas, and basically died a pauper. The property he lived on in Massachusetts was a large silver repository. Had he just stayed where he was with the knowledge he had, he could have. And there's stories about this all over the place. You stop digging, and the minute you stop digging, you were only one shovel away from your gold. Okay? So I love this. We're going to talk about database. Some things we're going to cover is how to stop chasing the next deal. How do we get customers to keep coming back, and how do we get our past customers to talk to us? You want to create a 3 to 5 year reach back. Honestly, what do we tell people? We want to be their realtor for life, right? Not just for 3 to 5 years. And if the average person stays in a home for 9 years, we need to have at least a 9-year plan, right? Why do we need to stay in touch? Well, there's lots of competition. We are at the highest levels of realtors that we've ever seen. We are now higher than what we were prior to the bubble, okay? And realtors only make up about 60% of actual licensees. So if there's 1.4 million realtors, we're probably looking at 2.5 to 2.75 million real estate licensees. Lots of competition. Not to mention, look at the apps, look at the tech that's coming. You know, are you afraid of Amazon? Don't be afraid of Amazon if you have a database. If you have a database and you are good at what you do, it doesn't matter what Google, Zillow, you know, all these tech things. Don't get caught up in that. Do your job, do what you're good at, and you will be able to build and maintain. If they're just looking for cheap service, they're going to get it. They can, you know. So it's easy for other agents to stay in contact, and they'll forget about you. How many people receive a postcard at least once a month from an agent? Anybody? Just me?
Yeah.
I mean, I actually get probably one a week from different real estate people looking to, you know, market in my street. So according to Loyalty 360, customer loyalty researchers report that companies on the average lose more than 50% of their customers each year. And that's at a cost 20 times more to do business with new customers and it costs 20 times more to do business. What's cheaper? Somebody that you know that already has a relationship with you, or paying whatever you're paying to Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com and having a cold lead that you're going to have to cultivate and start all over. Sometimes we just think of the dollar amount, but what about our time? What about the stress? Anybody in here get anxiety when they have to talk to somebody new? I can't tell you how many classes I've driven to that I'm attending. I get there, I see the parking lot's full, and I turn right back out because I have a lot of stress anxiety when it comes to groups. I don't know if you can tell.
No, you do great. Can I ask a question? If you have, like, say, a lot of my clients, after they sold, they moved out of state. So I have one in Tennessee, I have one in Colorado, I have one in New Hampshire, one in Florida. How do I keep connect? I mean, you know, I know them still, but for
Are you
for
friends with
business.
them on Facebook?
Yeah.
So
Well,
just
some
keep in
some
touch.
not. Yeah, some not even. Yeah.
We're going to get into more specifics
But
on.
I mean, do any mailing kind of thing or no?
So I absolutely think so.
Yeah.
And here's the one thing about a lot of people that are moving to Arizona, Florida, the southern states. They're getting down there. I think I mentioned this in a previous class, but they're getting down there, and then they're realizing that it's not their kids they miss, it's their grandkids that aren't coming to visit. So they end up moving back. So it's more important now, I think, when they move out of state, that you stay in touch. And so there's lots of ways you can do that. We'll get into some more detail and interaction and see what some other people in the room do and go that route. So the number one mistake is we don't do the obvious. Why don't we do the obvious? What is the obvious?
It's not obvious.
What's the...
We're blinded.
Sometimes the simplest things in the world are the things we're oblivious to. So all we have to do is stay in touch. Just call them up.
Yeah.
So who uses Slide Dial? Who's heard of Slide Dial?
I actually don't like slide dial because I know when people are slide dialing me. Because your phone rang once and then it goes straight to voicemail. Like someone just left me a voicemail because they didn't want to call me. You could tell.
That's
So
why that.
for some people that know what the product is, that's the response you're gonna get.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't know, so.
For other
Then all of a
people,
sudden I have a voicemail like,
Right.
oh yeah, just wanted to chat.
What is it?
so what it is it's an app. It's $29 a year. $29 a year, you can send unlimited phone calls. You dial up a person, and it only works for cell phones. You dial them up, and it goes directly to their voicemail. You can just leave a message. So what I do, and we actually, Stacy, one of the slides talks about a similar product, but you leave the voicemail. So you can do like up to 10 at a time. So if you're leaving a generic voicemail, hey, this is Eric. I haven't touched base in a while. Just wanted to see how things were going and how you were enjoying your new home. If you need anything, remember I'm here for you. 603-660-9388. Hope to talk soon. And then it goes out to whoever I'm sending it to, and that's their voicemail.
So
Pretty
you pre-record it?
Well, it's just on the phone. I don't. I guess I pre-record it because I just open up the app, do it, and then it just sends it out for me
Okay.
right then, live time. So.
Would you want to talk to them?
If they
Like,
call
instead
you
of
back.
sliding
Do you want the honest answer?
You figure if they
Yeah.
call you
Well-
No.
they want to.
Just let
It
them
just
remember
takes,
you.
so it depends on the client and the agent themselves. It could take a long time to go through your entire database to just let them know what you're trying to tell them. So if you are trying to like have more rapport with them, yeah, give them a call. But if you just want to let them know or remind them, oh, we have an event and we were trying to make sure you come, easy to just slide dial them and just say, listen, remember. But it doesn't work for me because, one, I know when they're doing it. Two, I don't check my voicemail often. Like, I just scroll through, like, oh, yeah, you know. And then it's just a way to do it easier. And you can do one message and send it out to a lot of people.
Right.
So if you have, like, a huge group to invite, that's the best way to do it. But always call them and have a conversation because then that person that does that to me, I don't talk to him. Because he just slide dials me. Like, a short conversation is not going to kill you.
But again, it depends. If you get confidence in time, right? So you do this, if you're got phone call reluctancy, use a tool like this.
Yeah.
You get, all of a sudden you start getting you will get a few people to call you back. I always get 2 or 3 to call me. Then I know they're wanting to talk to me. Now I'm no longer feeling like I'm imposing on them or all the other excuses we use on why we don't want to call people. But again, Kiki brought up, she was like reading my mind. So if you do client appreciation events, hey, just wanted to let you know you should be receiving an email. And I want to personally invite you to the Valentine's Candy Crush event I'm having on February 14th at the office. Look for that email and then hang up. I don't check email. I mean, I don't check voicemails either, per se. I read them.
Yeah.
So if I saw that, I'd be like, oh, okay. I don't know. I mean,
It's literally the last thing I do in the day. I'll check my voicemail. Because I usually answer. So if you're calling me to call me, I'm going to answer.
Would it have mattered to you if someone said, oh God, I hate to bother you, Kiki, because you're so busy, so I'm gonna leave you a quick voicemail? Would that have made a difference with those
Shoot over a
people?
text. I'd rather have a text than a voicemail.
So the slide only does voicemail, it wouldn't do 10 texts?
no.
Okay.
There
And-
are
and
apps out there.
I
that do
used it, so I can't knock it. Because when I first started, I did use it because I was a little afraid of the phone. Like I just don't want to call everyone. I don't want to bother them. Sometimes it's awkward if we don't really have that good of a rapport.
Right.
So I did use it for a long time, but now it's just like, I know when you're doing it. Just give me a call.
All right. How many times do we touch somebody in a year?
That's a loaded
How many
question.
Please don't answer.
Let's rephrase the question.
I did not write this slide.
That's awkward.
Me too. Hashtag, right?
Yeah, really.
So let's define what a touch is here, guys. What can be considered a touch? I'm sorry.
Touch base with
You
them,
would
a
need-
phone call, or email.
Email,
Text.
phone call,
Okay, we
Facebook
have a
post.
question.
What do we got for a question?
So it says, the slide out call from your computer, and does it show up as you that you call?
So no, it does. When I do it mine, it does not show up. It doesn't even ring the person's phone. I know Kiki says she gets one ring. On the way I have mine set up, it does not ring at all. They won't get a missed call notification or anything. It'll just say you have a voicemail.
Yeah.
Is the way it works for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't say that I missed a call.
Right.
It just says I have a voicemail all of a sudden. But it does ring that one split second, and then it goes to voicemail.
So it doesn't even show the number of the cell phone.
No, it doesn't show up as a missed call.
And it's not from the computer. It is actually an app for both Android and Apple. So.
There is a way to do it on the computer, I thought.
Does it show up
It's great for
saying
like
it's from me?
expired
No,
stuff.
no. I
The
mean, it just
voicemail, I think,
the
does.
voicemail will show
Yeah.
my phone number.
Yeah, right.
Even if it's call them all.
All the expired.
Yeah.
One thing. So the comment was, you know, you could use this for expires and stuff like that. The do not call list still applies. So if they're on the do not call list, you can't slide dial. Okay. All right. So what we were discussing, what some touches were. We talked about email. We talked about calls. We talked about. Did somebody say notes? Notes, pop-bys. You know, where you drop by their house. Facebook. It's the easiest touch out there.
Yeah. Message.
So there's lots of different ways to get these touches.
Flyers.
Yeah, well, you want something that's a little bit somewhat personal.
Yeah.
So that's why the Popeyes, even though you have the same tag on all, you know, if you go do 20 Popeyes, you might have the same, you know, if you're doing the ketchup, relish, and mustard, you know, I relish your referrals, we should catch up soon, or whatever the...
Yeah.
Oh, there's some cheesy ones out there.
Yeah,
So you may have that type of thing, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
They weren't friendly.
yeah.
It seems weird.
Did you get me a gift?
They didn't say get away from my
You're getting
house.
a gift.
Yeah.
So my January pop-by every year is always suntan lotion.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
What do you say?
I'm not as creative. I just put it's right around the corner, so and then just sign my name. I don't. I'm lame. Okay. I'm as creative
You
as
can Google how to be creative.
and come up
By
with plenty
searching
of
Popeyes.
things.
Yes.
But that's what I'm more about what it is and just
And the Buffini
That-
program has a ton of different
Yeah.
Popeye ideas and what to say on the note
Or
card.
be safe and call me. Like,
That's
Oh,
a good one.
one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
yeah. Don't get burned.
I
Don't
did
get
measuring
I like
cups,
that.
Oh yeah.
Call
cups of
me
real
if you
Yeah.
want to
I
get burned.
measured
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, that's a
Like
cute
that.
one.
I did the
They have a
measuring
ton of
cups.
ideas. Tons.
You can come up with your own
You just
too. Like
Google-
you look at
Yeah.
something to say, okay, what can I say about this?
And Pinterest, you Google Pinterest and find Popeye ideas. There's a million of them on
Yeah.
there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So who uses a spreadsheet for their database?
I used
Right
to.
now, I am.
Okay.
I used to have that other one.
What are some other databases that people have used or have used?
I've used Top Producer.
Top
I
Producer.
didn't want
I
the
still
expense.
have that,
Put
but
them
I'm
in-
really looking to change out of it.
Improv for now. I'm using. I put it in
Okay,
there.
so Top Producer, Improv.
Close.
We've heard about Close,
Brian
Nimbles.
Buffini CRM.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go into detail on two of them. That's Boston Logics, which one is. Let me. So this is my Boston Logics website. It's not anywhere near what Kiki's is, but mine's just very basic, simple. But when somebody logs in, on the back side, I see this. Okay, so I have myself in here as a test, just to show you, you can upload a CSV file from your Excel spreadsheet and load all your stuff, all your clients into it, send them out an email saying, hey, I've got this great website, you're already registered, here's what you can do. So in here, my client record, I can look at notes, activities. I come in here, I can see that these are the properties they looked at. I can see what they search for. I can see what they're doing online without them knowing I know this.
Oh.
Okay. The other thing that happens is on my phone, I get a text message every time somebody goes onto my website and does a search. So I
How do you
know
set that up?
it's in the
Probably through this.
under the settings.
Okay.
And if do we have a specific Boston Logics training? We
Go to
don't.
boot camp.
Go to boot camp.
Yeah.
So in boot camp, we
That's
go into
Thursday.
detail, but
Also, I think one of the other best kept secrets is that Stacy has written an entire guide on how to use Boston Logic from soup to nuts, A to Z. And I have that on my list, but I think that should be shared more, and maybe I'll make a point of doing that on Thursday at boot camp. But if anybody wants that, I can easily send it to them.
Can we put it on Jostle?
I think it is.
it is on Jostle.
It is, okay.
So in here, I can come into my client here. I can see favorites. Oh, they favorited this one. They favorited that one. I can see what they have for saved searches. The other thing is,
Is this similar to the app on your phone? Would you also get alerted to from
the
that?
app is not connected to this.
It's not at all.
No.
Okay.
But the app is excellent too, to include and have people, because then if they're on their phone, they can do it.
So,
But this
like
is
if they save like certain houses, will that get forwarded over to you?
yeah, but not into Boston Logic.
Gotcha.
And you can use Boston Logic on your phone. It's
Right.
really mobile friendly.
Okay.
Activity, toolbar activity form. So they can actually, as a client, they could come in here and they could say, I want to see this property, and put in a showing request. And it gives you, so on my side, I can come in here and I can see this. I see the agent information. I can call them and get it scheduled. Okay.
Oh, so these aren't even your listings, they could go in and look at
Right,
somebody
they can
else's
look at-
listing and just.
Yeah, anything that's on MLS will be on your website.
You can, set up different activities, drip campaigns, all types of things. I don't want to go into a whole bunch just because we could be here for a day. But you can set up, say you want to come in here, save searches, create a new search. Say you're talking to the person on the phone and you want to set it up, name of the search, just test. If you click on exclusive properties only, it means they're only going to see your listings. So if you're not a heavy lister, just something to keep in mind.
Don't even put that, yeah.
And you can go in and you can customize it and create the search for them, and then they'd get the updates regularly. Action plans, I will warn you on the action plans. I have this one built out. Okay, drip campaign. So if you have 500 people in your database and you have this set up for all 500 of them, you will get 500 emails every time a task is due. Just FYI. So, wait, what? You can keep track of your deals. There's all kinds of things you can do, but the big thing is you can actually see if they're using your website. I can tell you that most clients aren't going to come to your website. Okay, it's good to have. It's a good source, but if they are already using Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com, they already are comfortable with that. As long as you educate them to contact you and not click on the get more information. But you can use this as your database maintenance, and on the backside you can set up showings. You can schedule out, like if you're going to show 4 houses, this will map it out for you in the best route, and it'll give them, you can email it to them so they get a PDF of the property information as well as the route we're going to go for the day. So there's a lot of things we can do with this on the back end that we just underutilize.
I also want to point out that even though they don't use your website, they're going to Google you to see if you do have a website, because you're not official unless you have a website. You're not a business. So make sure you do have one and that it looks nice, so that way they know. So mine has
What's
a ton
yours?
of different KQSellsHomes.com. I added a bunch of different pages to mine just so I was a little different, and so there's buyer pages, seller pages, there's I'm a VA specialist as well, so that's on there, Veterans United. So I have a ton of different pages that cater to specific niches. That way people feel like I'm talking directly to them and not just being a broad general agent. So I do try to focus that a little bit more. But they're always going to Google you to make sure you're real.
See you later. Thank you.
And Stacy is really big about this right here. So make sure in Jostle your profile is up to date and has information, because when they go to the website, it's important that there's something there.
Can you quickly show what you were just saying about the showings and how it maps out the route?
Yep. So let me see. Let me go in and add a couple.
Sean's had it too. You just get it up. They can map it out fast.
So here I am. Let's say we're gonna go see this one, this one, this one, this one, and then showing sheet. Oh, here we go. For some reason it's not doing the drop down. I don't know why the drop down's not working right now, but usually this will have a drop down. You can do it by distance. Right now it's just doing price high to low, so you can also manually adjust them.
But you would still have to call on the listings.
You still have to set up the showings, yes.
Right, okay.
But then you can do, you know, Saturday. What's Saturday's date? 19th. 19 showings. So now they get this sheet here with the map. Oh, right here it is. I knew there was someplace. So optimize. And you pick where you want to start from. So I'm just going to say, you know, if you're starting at one of these properties, you can just put that, or but I'm going to put the office down. There. And so it gives all the directions to them printed out as well.
And then that gets emailed to them.
Yep. And I will show you what the email looks like. So here, thought you might be interested in these properties. They can click on it and see the listing, but where is?
I think it's an attachment.
So here it is. That's just the logo.
Does it tell you what time to be at those properties? Or just the directions?
Well, you'll have already had that conversation. You can put it in the comments and notes, hey, we're starting at this property at 2 o'clock.
Gotcha.
And then from there, you just hit all 4 of them. So if they click on it, brings up the property. And from the website, so say they were on this, on my site already, they could request a showing, and this comes right to me. It doesn't go to the listing agent, it comes to me as their agent, and then I can make the phone call and get it. So there's a lot that Boston Logic can do for us. So the other one I'll show you is Referral Maker. This is the Buffini one. This one's, you know, depending on what plan you go with, it's $39 a month to $49 a month, I think, maybe. But you have a dashboard that tells you, okay, to win the day, I need to make 8 phone calls, 2 notes, do 2 pop-bys, add 3 people in my database, give a referral, get a referral. Now, how does those numbers get calculated? Well, under your business, you can set your business goals. Okay, how much do you want to bring home? What's your tax rate? How much are your monthly or your annual expenses? What portion do you keep? What's your average sale? What's your average? And so it calculates everything for you. And then in here, as you go, it'll keep track of your transactions for you, keeps track of what your average days on market, all that. You can print all kinds of reports. The other thing it does is your expenses. If you fill this in every month, you can print off a profit and loss every single month, so that you can just turn that in with your taxes at the end of the year and let your CPA handle it, or if you do them yourself. So I like this system. This is not the one. I mean, I use Referral Maker, but this isn't the account I use. This is for demonstration purposes. But if you use it, so it talks about calls. So if I had people in here, it sorts them A+ through C, and it tells me, okay, calls. Have you called this person yet? Have you not called this? You know, you can skip if you just talk to them, or if you just talk to them on Facebook, whatever, or you can log it. Same thing, notes, pop-bys. The other great thing is, say you're in notes. God, I don't know what to write to somebody. What do I do? There's the mayor campaign. We talked about that a little bit earlier. You can do, you know, these are just ideas on, oh, these are calls. Let's go over here. Just following up, reconnecting. Gives you little ideas of what to say, do, ask for. So, Massachusetts just passed a plastic bag ban, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the pop buys, reusable shopping bags, helping the environment on all of your referrals. It even gives you like a little line right there to use. So, you know, it's a good program. It's limited. It's not designed to help you with if you do a lot of internet leads like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Opcity. These are meant for more of the people that you already have contacts with. But it's a phenomenal program. I personally love it. Here's a sheet that talks about, in the Referral Maker, you can upload your CSV file, but whether you're using Referral Maker or any of them, here's some information on what you should be collecting to build your database. Some of it's real simple, real obvious. Address of where they live, right? Spouse's name, children's name, phone numbers, date of birth, anniversaries. But the other thing is, it asks about hobbies, jobs, accomplishments, dreams, vacations. All these things are important because they build rapport. If you know somebody loves to ski, and you find, you know, you see something, a funny meme on Facebook or Twitter or anything, share it with those people. And how do you know that they like those things? Because you're taking an active interest in your clients. if you take an active interest in them, they will return the favor and take an active interest in you. Let's get back to the slides here. Some people think that, oh no, I only did 11 touches last month or last year. I missed a month. It's okay. If you hit somebody with, don't hit anybody. If you reach out to somebody 10 times in a year, they won't realize that you missed 2 months. Okay? It's the consistency. Don't do 1 month, 6 months, 2 years. So most businesses are terrible at the consistent marketing to their database. This is your opportunity, okay? It's not hard to stand out and be the person who's staying in touch, especially coming up in January, February. Credit card bills are starting to come in, right? From Christmas and the holidays. Find an article about savings and how to do that, and just include that and send it out to people. Now, don't say, hey, I bet you're buried in credit card debt. That wouldn't work. But if you know that somebody, another good example is this May when kids start graduating, you get the empty nesters. Find articles on how to cope with, because that's a big stress. I mean, I have 5 kids. 3 of them are out of the house.
So it's the opposite for you. Once they're out, your stress is gone.
I was this close. My oldest is 23.
Yeah.
My youngest is going to be 3 on Saturday. I was so close, and then I had to start over. So, but it's true. If you have a client that's got kids going, graduating, they're going to be empty nesters. It's very stressful. Find an article for them to read or a blog and forward it to them. Look for reasons to help them or to be a part of their life. Not just, hey, I sold another house, or are you thinking about moving, or
Right.
do things that are not real estate. They already know you're a realtor.
Right.
Now show that you're a human being that cares about them. What are you doing to build your endearing relationships? Right? That's what we're talking about. Pinterest. Kiki mentioned Pinterest. I love Pinterest. I don't know how to use it. But I go to Pinterest and I'll just Google something, whatever it is. If I know I have a couple clients that are into fly fishing, I Google fly fishing and I get all these memes and ideas. Right click, save image, go back and send them an email. Hey, saw this, made me think of you. Now, I had to actively go look for it. It didn't just pop up in my field of my day-to-day stuff. I had to actively go look for it. But they don't know that. That's part of being a professional. That's part of being that next level, is taking that active interest. Going back to the different CRMs that are out there, Market Leader, just so you know, Market Leader is a website kind of like Boston Logic. They're not a bad platform. They're about $100 a month though. Boomtown, it's all right. IXAct is very much like Top Producer. They also give you a free website. And if you're a new agent, they give you like 6 months free. If you're an experienced agent, they give you, I think it's 2 months or 6 weeks, something like that. Referral Maker we talked about. Follow Up Boss, it's expensive, but a lot of people love it. Zillow Premier Agent just changed. It used to be that you had to log in, like if you were going to use it, you uploaded all your clients, Zillow got your clients. They just recently changed that, so that's not the case. I know the Bedford office is using Sync. They've been around for a long time. Commission Inc., they've been around for a long time. So Wise Agent is okay. Realtyjuggler is the cheapest CRM out there. If you like Microsoft Windows 95, you're going to love Realtor Juggler because the user interface is about the same. That's sarcasm because it's just really dated, but it's $99 a year. Lion Desk is a fairly new one. They're $25 a month. They have text option. They're excellent. It's got a little bit of a learning curve to set it up right, but once you get it set up, it's a very good one. Top producer. It's been around since Moses was selling houses, so Boston Logic. RealVolve. There was some discussion about this recently on, I think it was Jostle or the Facebook page. That's a good one. It's real estate specific. They have the texting option as well, so that's another good one. KW E-Edge is the same. Anybody that came from KW, E-Edge is the same thing as Market Leader. It's the very same. So Rethink CRM. All this is Salesforce. If anybody's familiar with Salesforce, it's a CRM, and all that Rethink did was they took Salesforce and rebranded it with real estate specific. It's a good program. It's a little over the top, but FirePoint, it's another one that's got the built-in website and integration, kind of like Boston Logic. Chime, same thing, just like Boston Logic. So you can go as deep as you want. I can tell you Masterdime, that's not a real estate specific one, and it's very, very, I mean, you need to be a programmer in order to say that one's set up, just FYI. Property Base also is based off of Salesforce. All right, so.
Where are you finding that? I'm seeing the link up there, like if I wanted to.
Sure, so all I did was I Googled real estate CRM list, and just a little ways down, it says best real estate CRM software of 2019.
Thank you.
But again, we have Boston Logic, which has a lot of tools that if we actually use them, could be a really dynamic program. And then, again, Referral Maker does a lot of stuff there for you as well. And if you're a part of a team, they do have a team option now where you can actually, the team leader can actually track and help with metrics. There are marketing, you can set up drip campaigns and stuff like that in here. Imprev, we can use Imprev, that's part of the LAER system, as well as Boston Logic. So, all right. Let's clean up some of these tabs. Maybe we can get the Brian Buffini list of things that are that list of names, hobbies, stuff like that. Things that we should be finding out about our clients to help us build that relationship. Go ahead.
Would you know if any of these databases have an option to transfer information to another database?
So
Everything.
almost all of them have an export feature.
Oh,
So you would export it, it would come in as an Excel or a CSV file.
all right.
And then that CSV file you can upload. Almost all of them have bulk uploading features
Yeah.
where you can upload through the CSV. The only problem with that is sometimes you have to rename the columns in order for it to map
It's not
properly.
exact, yeah.
All right. So what are some other things that you guys do to keep your relationships with your clients? Hope you never bump into them in a supermarket. And go ahead.
I don't know. Well, this goes back to a question, a point that was on one of the other slides was, what do we do the minute we have a closing? I mean, I think that's what we forget most of all, is how are you going to follow up with your past clients? What kind of program are you setting up to be in touch?
So how many people do a closing gift?
Always a gift.
Yeah. You guys do it at the closing table?
Yeah, pretty much. Or
Okay.
after.
That or after?
Well, if they're buying a new house, I have like a house gift. Yeah, you can always go up to the new house too.
Yeah. So what I do is I do a housewarming party. and I consider it marketing. Now, we have a place called the Back Room, the Puritan Back Room, that has these amazing chicken fingers. So what I do is I get the chicken fingers. I'll get a basket of chicken fingers and a big salad, and usually costs me about $150 for food. Okay, but that's minimal expense, because what I tell my client is, give me your Christmas card list. I'm going to make an announcement, send it out to everybody that you moved, give them your new address, and I'll invite them. You know, you tell me who's safe to invite. I'll invite them. I'll come cater your party.
Oh, I like that.
I just added 40, 50 people to my database. And then at the party, I get to meet them face to face.
Right.
And I guarantee you that they're,
Eventually.
well, whoever they had for an agent didn't throw them a party.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's good, I
so
like that.
I got that tip from Josh Altman. I don't know if anybody watches $1 Million Listing, but that's one of the things that he does.
Can't you only write off $50, or you're gonna write all of
If it's a
that off?
gift,
Yeah. But
It's
if
not a
it's
gift.
housewarming,
it's a marketing. It's a marketing.
So
It's
you
just,
can
it's a
write off the
client
whole thing,
appreciation,
yeah. You
right?
can
It's
still
client-
you can write it all off.
Yeah.
I'm not a tax expert.
I don't know.
I give the
Yeah, I
receipt
would
to my
think
tax
that.
guy and let him decide what I can and can't do.
Okay.
But it's not a gift. It's a marketing. It's an event.
Right.
So,
That's an event, yeah.
and I let them pick the date too. It's like, all right, we're doing it Thursday. You know, we closed on Friday. We're doing it next Thursday. No, let's get settled in. We can do this 30, 45 days out, and it gives me a reason to do that.
So you supply all the setup too, or you let the people do that? I mean, of course you need.
Oh, I come with the
Yeah,
paper plates
everything,
and plastic,
yeah.
yeah. But again, it usually costs about $150 for one of those, and
You wouldn't want to do it at their house?
I do it at their house.
Oh, you do it.
Yeah. I pick it up and bring it to their house so that people can get, and then I say, you guys enjoy, and we go and I give tours and stuff like that. Now I will, I did one in Epping last year, and they had a 2-year-old, and they're always, so I bring, you know, the chicken and the salad, and then they always have some sort of little finger foods that they always end up making and putting out. Well, she'd put out meatballs with toothpicks in it, and a 2-year-old got, and we ended up having to bring the 2-year-old to the hospital, but she was okay. She was okay. But that really, even in that kind of scary situation, I was able to remain calm and help, and the people see that. And so remember, you're on display, and you're not there to sell your services.
Right.
You're there to show that you're a human being just like them. So don't, every conversation, I'm a realtor, are you thinking about buying or selling in the next 6 months? Are you thinking? No, talk and get to know them, make it about them. So.
That's nice. Now I want chicken fingers in the
Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. All right, so Buffini really uses an A/B. Oh, there's another CRM out there that's great. It's called Contactually.
What is it called?
Contactually. And just for equal time here, any Ferry friends here? Tom Ferry. He does all kinds of. He's like a Brian Buffini. The difference I see is Brian Buffini is a very relaxed, non-pressure type situation. Tom Ferry is a very high, which doesn't work for my style. But he also he uses the Contactually through his program, and Contactually uses buckets, which is the same concept we're about to talk here: A list, B list, C list. So who are your A-list client, or your A-list people in your database?
People that are ready to buy now.
So that would be your sales funnel. Let's talk about so let's try to separate a sales funnel, which is your people that are in the buying process, and your database, which are people you know, your sphere.
It would be people sending you referrals.
People who have sent you a referral. Anybody that sent me a referral in the past 18 months, I keep in my A list. Now, does that mean you have to be their realtor? Trick question, right?
No.
Well,
No.
no, because what happens if they live out of state? You can't be their realtor, but they may know somebody that's from
Needs
this
a
area.
realtor.
I know a lot of, I mean, I went to 9 different schools in the first 12 years of my schooling, so I know people, a lot of different people, but I know a lot of people from New Hampshire that now live in South Carolina,
Yeah.
in California, but they have family that live here still that may need a realtor. My number one source of a referral, they have an insurance company officed in Keller Williams with 300 agents in the office. They send their referrals to me.
Wow.
Okay. So you don't know, just because somebody, and they also, their sister's a realtor, so when they buy and sell, they have to use the sister in order for
Yeah,
Thanksgiving,
family,
not
they
to,
have family,
but they don't send their sister the referral, they send me the referral.
Wow.
Okay? So just because they are A, even though they've done 2 transactions in the last 4 years and they didn't use me, but I still keep them on my A list. A list are people I touch every 30 to 45 days personally. Not just a like on Facebook, not just a comment on Facebook, but I actually go by their house. So, B's, maybe people that we have talked to, that we have worked with, maybe they're a client that we had. The Brian Buffini program talks about qualifying and actually asking, hey, if you heard of somebody asking about real estate, who would you refer them to? Would you refer them to me? That's about as aggressive as I can get, but I will ask that question because I have to know if they're like, oh no, I have, this person, like in the beginning when I asked you, who you would refer Susan. If they tell me, hey, look, no, I'm not going to use you, I said, that's fine. I might move them down to a B or a C. I'm still going to stay in touch a couple times a year because you never know. They have
Because they
fallen
could
outs.
have a falling out with their realtor and not like something they did, so I remember Eric.
Yeah.
Call him.
And how many people stay in real estate?
Not too many.
It's 75% attrition rate after 5 years, 4 years.
Yeah.
So
Or they even come back like I did.
Yeah.
It's
So.
Guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 3-year campaign. Again, you can set up the drip campaign through Imprev or Boston Logic or whatever CRM you use, but have something there. But it has to be beyond just the constant emails, because how many people get emails from salespeople all the
Yes,
time?
I have to unsubscribe.
You have-
I get too many.
Yeah. So just doing emails is not enough. You have to have a whole dynamic program.
Plus, you don't want to come off as being too passive. No, here again. So.
Send a bumpy mailer. That's interesting. How many people do calendars?
Not yet. I had a funny story. So I sent out my calendar and I sent that, this was after Brian Buffini class, and then I had, I did a referral. I sent candy and I said, if you could refer a client, that would be sweet.
Uh-huh.
A year later, before I did a closing from a referral, that customer came up to me and she slapped it on the table. She goes, done. So it was funny. She thought it was funny. You just don't know how you touch somebody. But she was just waiting like that.
Yeah.
Done.
That is awesome. Yeah. I don't know.
They're
I don't know. I think calendars are nice, but I know for me, I don't like things on my refrigerator. I don't like people's pictures here and there. So I've gotten a calendar. I rip off the picture. I keep the calendar just to have the date. So and that showed me, okay, I'm not sending out any calendars because people might feel the same way. They don't want my picture there and they don't want my info.
So in one of the classes I teach, I actually talk about that. A lot of times we sometimes limit ourselves by what we like and dislike. I know I'm guilty of it all the time. So I'm like, oh, I wouldn't like that, so I'm not going to do it. Well, guess what? I'm only about 10% of the population.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
That's true.
but with regards to calendars, I love going in on a CMA in looking at their calendar and seeing some other agent's information sitting right there with their calendar or their recipe card or
Oh,
their
really?
measurement
Yeah.
conversion
Oh, yeah.
while I'm sitting there doing the CMA.
Cool.
And,
That's-
like, yeah.
And what do you do with that?
he throws
Well, it
it
doesn't
away.
matter. I don't point it out until after they sign the listing agreement.
Trash in the mouth.
So we can throw this
All
out.
right. Let me clean your fridge.
Let me put up mine.
But Dave-
Well, I just think it's interesting that, you know, we spend money on these things, but if all we do is send the calendar,
And you don't follow
it just
up or anything.
becomes another magnet on
That's
the
right.
fridge. We have to do more to
Mhm.
be in front.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
called regularly, and you know what? If you did a good job, it shouldn't be uncomfortable to ask for the referral. Anybody ever bought a new car thinking that, oh man, I never see this car, and the minute you drive off the lot, you're in a line of blue CRVs. You know, that's what happened when my wife bought a CRV. There's everybody, you guys all have a blue CRV in your driveway, right? Because that's what it feels like. By staying in touch with people, you don't have to push, hey, I'm a realtor, I'm a realtor, I'm a realtor. But when you call them, when you end and just say, hey, just so you know, when you hear somebody talking about real estate, I hope you keep me in mind. Within 2 days, they're going to hear somebody talking about real estate. It happens all the time. It's there's an actual term for it, but I have a speech impediment. But it's an articulate. I don't know it. I'm not going to butcher it. But there's an actual, Google it. There's an actual scientific term that when you're exposed to something, subconsciously you start noticing.
Subliminal kind of message?
It's kind of subliminal, but it's articulal. It starts with an A.
Okay.
So. All right, so email drips you can do monthly, holiday cards. If you think about it, you know, 12 touches, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. All your past clients. How about vendors? Referrals, friends, family, everyone you meet.
Stores at the bank.
Be careful of spam. Spam, you have to give, if you're going to send out a mass emailing, you have to put a way for them to unsubscribe. You also have to put your office name and address on the bottom. What to drip? Community information, upcoming events, articles, reviews. Do different stuff. I can't stress that enough. You don't have to sell the fact that you're a realtor. Be a human. Okay, some holidays, New Year's, Memorial, 4th of July, Thanksgiving. I put in holiday, winter holiday, be politically correct. As much as, you know, regardless of where you fall on it, it's the world we live in. We have to be a chameleon to our clients. I'm not saying you have to change who you are, but if you know somebody's Jewish, don't send them a Christmas card, send them a Hanukkah card.
Yeah.
It is what it is. All right. So sticky mailers. We all want to make more money, right? So if you're spending $400, $500, $600 a month on Zillow, what would happen if you took that $400 or $500 and invested it on people you already knew in books? I mean, you could buy 3 or 4 books and send 3 or 4 books to people who maybe are going through a hard time. You have a client going through a divorce, send them a book about, you know, divorce. You have somebody that just lost a parent. This time of year, there's a lot of death.
Yes.
I mean, it happens all year, but, you know, acknowledge that. Big thing is cards. Invest in cards, mail them out. If you don't have a lot to say or you can't think of a lot to write bigger.
Yeah.
It's okay. Just thinking of you.
Right.
And send it to them. an annual CMA. I love doing, I know I'm weird, I love doing CMAs. All my clients get a CMA twice a year from me.
Really?
And if it's gone up, last year I sent out, you know, you can go to Staples and you can buy checks, like check sheets. And I set up a template that says, since when, I make it out to them, and then in the bottom part of the check I put in, you know, you bought your home so many years, you know, so long ago. Since then, your investment has grown from purchase price to what the CMA is. If you are thinking about listing it, let me know and let's get this check made out to you for real.
Oh, cool.
And, but I don't do that to like people I don't know, because that becomes like really sales, car salesy.
Yeah.
You know,
You already have
here's a blank key, you know,
relationship
type
with.
thing.
Yeah.
But these are people I already have a relationship with.
Yeah.
And I can only think of one person that it's actually triggered in 4 years. But you know what? It's paid for that marketing for a long time to come. I'll take it. Because it's, you don't know what one thing is going to be what's going to trigger it. It could be the 6th time you've touched them in the year and they're like, you know what? I do know somebody. Or they may say, I wonder if I send this person a referral if they'll stop talking to me.
Yeah, get them
Right?
right back.
So, anyway,
No more Christmas cards.
Yeah.
books to read. There's a lot. There's a lot of books out there on relationships. Just keep that in mind. And final thought, I love this.
too, yeah.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's why throughout this, I don't know if you got the drift. Be human, not realtors. Be
Right.
human. So if you're sincere, have empathy for people, you're going to be successful. So, that's what I have for the day.
that-
Susan, do you have something to close out with? Or
We're fine.
bye, everybody.